So we're here today taking a look at Skullgirls. We're at the office. I'm here with Ian Dixon, Skullgirls extraordinaire.
Hi Sam.
Just introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Ian. I'm from Lunch PR and we handle the PR for Skullgirls in the UK.
So basically, if you were stuck in a lift and someone said to you, "Help, I'm gonna die," and you were like, "Well, before you die, I need to tell you about Skullgirls," what would you tell them?
Okay, well, first of all,
you should see a doctor first of all.
First of all, I'd be dialing 999. So Skullgirls is the brainchild of Mike Zaymont, who is renowned for winning, for fighting tournaments in the US. And he had the idea that he wanted to create a fighting game, 2D fighting game, for the tournament scene that sort of didn't have a lot of the issues that have developed over years for the 2D fighting game genre. So things like combating infinite combos, you know, high-low unblockables, and basically catering for fighting game fans who've spent their time sort of wishing for a sort of tweaked game for tournament play. So he got together with a man called Alex Ahad, who is a very, very good artist who has appeared on sort of many publications like Udon's Girls of Gaming series. He does a lot of artwork for that. And so yeah, he had all these characters. Mike had a fighting game engine, and they got put together, and Skullgirls has been born. So
cool. They were like, let's make this fighting game with your crazy characters that we're seeing now.
Yeah. So if anything, Skullgirls, obviously it's being made by a really small team over in LA, Reverge Labs. So they don't have the sort of the resources to make it, you know, a 30-character fighting game. But what they have done is they've created this 8-character fighting game, downloadable from Xbox Live and PlayStation Network, or Sony Entertainment Network now. And they've really gone for depth over breadth. So as you can see previously, you've got the choice between 1 to 3 characters per team. So you can have 1 versus 3, 3 versus 2, 2 versus 2, 1 versus 1. It's pretty self-explanatory. And what that means is, you know, if you've come from Street Fighter or, you know, BlazBlue, you can choose 1 character and just get good with them, and, you know, train with just 1, get good at their moves, and then move on to another character. If you've come from a sort of Marvel background, you know, Marvel vs. Capcom, you can choose a team-based 3v3, and
so from what I've seen in this, it's a small team, but heck, is it big, and there's a lot of it. It's not quite like you say Mortal Kombat Armageddon with, you know, 80 characters to choose from. But as we're going to show you here, we set up just pretty much a training mode. What was this called here?
Well, yeah, when you enter versus mode, because you know, the guys have tried to make it as sort of accessible to fighting game fans as possible. You can start up a versus mode and just go straight into sparring. So you can choose from the options to spar, and then that brings up your training HUD, and it stops the time limit, stops the actual damage from happening, and that means you can just practice with a friend on the couch. You know, no need to go into a separate tutorial, separate training mode. You can just pop this on, and away you go. So at the moment, this is a fight between myself and you. And what we're seeing here is, obviously, you've got the sparring HUD, which shows sort of how much damage you're doing per move or per combo, and the little bar at the bottom is your hit stun timer, and that obviously lets you see how much time you have to input the next move of the combo before the combo stops. So it's really simple, and you know, and it might sound complicated to people who aren't sort of savvy in the 2D fighting game genre, but what we're seeing is the ability to, you know, really get to grips with what your combos are doing, and what sort of moves lead into other moves, and you know, I think one of the problems with the 2D fighting game before Skullgirls has come along is that to get into it requires a lot of time on YouTube or, you know, forums and things, and watching how to do certain combos, and Skullgirls is trying to combat that. It's trying to make it really simple to see exactly what you should be doing, when you should be doing it, and why and how, you know. So here we're sort of demonstrating, you know, starting from lights through to heavies. You can see that the green bar changes color as it moves, you know, as the time runs out for your combo. So yeah, and it allows you to practice. You know, it's fighting games don't normally let you just play with a friend and practice like this.
Well, this bar at the bottom, I don't play many fighting games, but I'm aware that I've never seen that sort of feature. But that's quite a simple HUD element that, you know, really makes you realise immediately like how big that window is for your attacks and such, and that's you can completely understand what's going on from
exactly.
that one bar.
And I think that you know, a lot of Skullgirls has that same mentality. You know, at the forefront of its sort of.
Yeah, you want to get people into this fighting game, and you're going to do it the easiest way possible. And stuff like Street Fighter, well, for me anyway, I don't play much fighting games. But for this, especially, I've only played it twice, and I could easily sit here and think that I'm now, you know,
you're now a fighting game.
I am, yes. Exactly. Well,
take on.
Thank you. Yeah. I was going to say it myself, but but yes, it is, and. I think obviously I'm going to show you some fights after this, but I kind of got the hang of it, and then you can feel that this is easily a really competitive game, especially with how all these characters differ like massively.
Yeah, another aim is, you know, a lot of fighting games to date, and there's no secret, you know, Mike Z is renowned for playing grapplers. You know, he's a big Zangief fan, and Hago from Blaze Blue. He basically wanted to make each character very individual. So rather than having 30 characters that sort of aspire to different archetypes, and so you get a lot which have very similar move inputs. With Skullgirls, there's a small number of characters, but they're all very defined and they're all very individual. As you can see, Cerebella here, she's a grappler. Whereas Philia, who's next to her, she's very fast. She's sort of like the Shoto character of Skullgirls, which is, you know, sort of like your Ryu and Ken from Street Fighter. But she's, you know, very rushed down, whereas Cerebella's quite slow.
And she has Tony the Tiger's arms.
So she's got an enchanted hat which has these giant sort of gorilla-style arms, and she uses those to grapple, which is where she gets all of her grappling moves from. So, but unlike a lot of, here we go, we've got an anti-air grapple there. Unlike a lot of grapplers, she also has a lot of ways to get around the screen as fast as possible. So here she's got a dash which has armor on, so you can take a hit and then it won't do anything to her, so she can get in close and start doing her throws. She's got like a glide on her heavy punch in the air, so she can sort of cover a lot of ground really quickly. And so, yeah, you know, that's very sort of individual for Cerebella. You know, she has a ridiculous amount of throws for a grappler.
So obviously we're seeing a brawler stroke grappler character here. Does she do the same amount of damage as all the players? It's not like this. Your character here is just, if you mash the kick button, you're gonna kill everyone.
You know, all the characters have sort of been balanced by the team. I mean, everybody sort of working on it, they are fans of 2D fighters, and a lot of it has actually been community-based in terms of testing. So, you know, for example, there was a case at a tournament last year when Mike took Skullgirls along to showcase it, and a lot of the feedback was, you know, this person's unbalanced, this person, you know, this move doesn't work well or whatever, and he would take it to his hotel room and he would tweak it overnight, and the next day in the tournament it was completely different, but it was fixed, you know, in terms of what the feedback had been. So there are characters. You heard it here first, the not your fighting games. Yeah, you know, a lot of the characters do have the different aspects of speed and strength, but obviously if you do mash, and if you do start doing things, then it's really punishable. You know, the whole point of Skullgirls is you can't exploit any, or, you know, hopefully you won't be able to exploit any issue, any part of the game, to the point where it, you know, feels broken, because everything has been taken into consideration. So infinite combos, for example, you know, you can't exploit infinite combos because they don't work in Skullgirls. The second you start to loop your combos, you'll be given a free, a get out free, yeah. And it's, you know, and some people are like, well, the whole point of fighting games is to find exploitations, and that's how you win tournaments. but it's not. You know, the way you win tournaments is by getting good and learning the combos and being a skillful player. And if you start looping the combos, then you'll be able to you can just bust out and that way you sort of set the board straight again and you can start off from where you left off.
So right now I believe I think we're showing off Peacock here.
Yeah, so this is Peacock, and as you can see, as are all the characters in Skullgirls, she's very distinct in her style. She sort of looks like a demonic Minnie Mouse with mechanical arms, and she was actually used by the Anti-Skullgirls labs to hunt down the other characters and cause trouble in general.
Obviously.
This move just now, obviously Peacock can drop items on other characters. That was the fridge from Requiem for a Dream, the Darren Aronofsky film. So a little bit of a niche reference there, but...
And that's an angry elephant.
That's the angry elephant. It never fails to amuse me, that elephant. Absolutely brilliant.
And the best thing you said about this is that all these things that are dropping are completely random. You don't actually know what is going to land.
Exactly. Depending on how long you hold the button for, the item will become bigger. So you can just drop plant pots, as you just saw. But if you hold it a bit longer, that was Andy Anvil, who's one of her sidekicks.
Obviously.
Yeah. And it goes all the way up to, there's some really nice references to JoJo's Adventure, which is a little bird thing that lives in her hat, drives a steamroller over the character.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah, and that's very rare. That's like 1 in 100 chance.
I think we saw that in a previous time of playing this, and you jumped up and you was as shocked as
we hugged, we cried. It was very emotional. It was a good time.
It was a good time, and we continued.
And here's another one of her sort of randomised moves. So she has a quarter circle forward and medium punch, has different types of guns that pop out of her sword. So some you may recognise from other popular video games and films and things like that, anime. Yeah, so they look similar. They're not the actual.
Oh no! Yeah, no.
But it's stuff like that. That the Skullgirls, that a lot of love's gone into the characters and creating, just really. Vivid visual sort of motifs to all sorts of different popular culture, be it films or games. Or it's come from a team that really loves the genre and it really loves the industry in general.
So, on a side note, how long has this been in development? Because there is obviously a lot going. I wouldn't be able to do this in a weekend. I'm aware of this.
In terms of development time, it's been in development for a while because technically it's been in development since Alex was in high school and he started drawing all these characters. Alex had all these characters planned, but he didn't have a fighting engine, so
he didn't have anywhere to put them. Okay, yeah.
And he does come up with the most ridiculous concepts that are just wonderfully bonkers. A lot of them are sort of very dark. They're funny, but then you think about it and it's like, hang on, that's actually kind of, this is a 13-year-old mechanical girl who smokes cigars and uses them to, burn her opponents and things. And she has a shotgun and a chainsaw, and it's very sort of grim, but in a sort of amusing way. Yeah. And so, it's in terms of actual development time, I couldn't really put a number on it, but it's been a long time coming, and I think it's sort of the development of years of sort of playing fighting games and sort of studying fighting games and really wanting to make what is essentially, the sort of the most tweaked, fine-tuned fighting game that you could possibly come up with.
I think obviously Peacock, in my mind, is pretty much the best character just for the amount of stuff that is thrown about. Like you play, just watching this, even though it happened about 5 minutes ago, I have no idea what sort of stuff is being thrown, like these bombs that are coming out of nowhere. So the blades.
Peacock's a sort of very ranged character, so she has a lot of projectiles and things that she can use to create a lot of space between her and the opponent, but she also has a teleport as well, which lets her get in close and then use her supers and things to push them away. Here we're seeing she's got one of her crouching mediums is she burns an ant, and then if you cancel out of it, you can actually let the ant get away. Doesn't do anything, but it's just another nice little touch.
Excellent.
You know?
So you can make it your goal to kill this ant.
Yeah, you know, well, if you're crouching medium kick, then yeah. So yeah, all of the characters' moves have been, you know, sort of really painfully studied and made into something that actually, you know, is relevant to that character. There's the Nurse Valentine, all of her moves are based on, you know, sort of surgical equipment, and one of her moves is a cadaver in a body bag, so, you know, I think...
Obviously, sorry, we should state this.
Yeah, of course, why not?
Why not?
I think, if anything, why not is probably like one of the sort of phrases that you can attribute to the whole of Skull. Oh, here we go. This is the giant comedy bomb.
Oh, okay.
Everybody loves a giant comedy bomb.
Which just comes out of nowhere and just completely changes the game.
Exactly. So these are, we're showcasing Peacock's super moves here. So there's the giant bomb, which you can play hot potato with. You know, your opponent can knock it back. Or not, yeah, in this case, you can just stand still and get hit, Sam. That was some good moves.
I've got a plan, honestly. You're about to see the coolest stuff you've ever seen.
So that's her throw, which is a bit sinister. And her super version of that is even more sinister. She gets her friends to beat you up while you're in a sack, and then she blows up a bomb with a cigar.
But the bomb was also beating you up. That's another key feature.
So yeah, again, why not? You know, it's like so many games hold a sort of sense of realism, which
there are walls. There are no walls.
Exactly.
In this game.
There's no boundaries. What I love as well, you can hear here you can see. So something that's sort of become a staple in video games in general is the combo adjective.
Oh yeah, okay.
You know, so 3 hits would be good and 4 hits would be great, and you know, you get a lot of games where it's like awesome or excellent. In Skullgirls, there are so many different combo adjectives that it's very difficult to put a number on it. So it ranges from, you know, 2 hits there with poetic. I think 18 hits is barely legal, and it gets to, you know, 69 hits is dude.
Oh, okay. Obviously.
What's 13 hits? Unfortunate.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. So it's all keeping rather relevant. My favourite is, I think it's 26 hits, which is the least used English word in the English language, which is anatiferous.
Which is now not the least.
Well, yeah, now it's been used constantly, and that means to produce ducks.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry, I should have said yes.
Yeah. So it's just really small things like that have been added to really create, you know, it's just so much fun, you know. So many. Oh, here we go. This is Parasol, who's the princess of the kingdom, the kind of the kingdom that this is set in, and she has an army behind her that will help her do all her awful deeds. So as you can see, when you choose 3 versus 3, or as long as you've got a team rather than just a single player, you can jump in and jump out. You can also snap back like you can in a lot of sort of team-based fighting games, which means, you know, you force your opponent out for them to sort of recoup, or, you know, meaning you can force other characters that may have low health in. Yeah. And again, all the snapbacks, they're all individual to each character, so it's not just a generic, you know, punch you off the screen. Good lord. Got really exciting there at this point. We're just sort of smashing each other with super moves.
Yes, so it's another one of those moments where you just kind of watch it and it's entertaining. You don't even need anything. Nothing needs to be explained. We understand what is going on here. Someone is getting beaten around the face with, well, getting shot in the face in that case.
So yeah, that was one of Parasol's super moves. She can call in a sniper. And this is Cerebello's. She has a 360-degree throw special, super, sorry. And basically, in most games, when there is a 360 throw, once you get to the top of the 360, obviously they jump, and that completely throws you off, and you have to jump into the actual throw itself. With Skullgirls, the way it's been developed is that if you hit the first 4 points of that 360 degrees, it knows that you're trying to do that. So it means that you can do that throw without jumping and spoiling your moves, and obviously it's just little touches like that which seem really obvious, you know, like they've never been done, and nobody's ever tried to do that before. So it's really making it, it's taking things that have just become commonplace and saying, well, why are these commonplace? Why are these issues a regular feature in every 2D fighting game? Let's fix it.
A lot of the things that Skullgirls do, I imagine, are going to crop up in a lot of other fighting series.
I would imagine so. Now that they've sort of taken the time to say, look, why have you let this become a regular feature? This is how, and I think this is how we should be approaching 2D fighting games, because, you know, I love playing all sorts of different 2D fighters and 3D fighters. But, you know, for me to get into them, it took a lot of like going on shoryuken.com or, you know, going on the forums and sort of studying for hours on end. And Skullgirls, along with its tutorial mode, which is very sort of hands-on, it's very, you know, sort of comprehensive. It allows you to actually learn not just the moves, you know, it doesn't just give you a moves list, it also lets you learn why you should be doing this thing at this point, and you know, what it's called, for when you're when you're trying to ask people on forums what it is, and they're just like, you know, they come back with all this ridiculous lingo like alpha cancelling and snapback and 2-in-1s and chain combos. Yeah, it's almost a completely different language, and Skullgirls will take you by the hand and teach you how to do it.
Well, during that past minute, we've seen a lot of crazy things happening. So, who is this new character?
So this is Miss Fortune. She's a zombie cat girl, obviously.
Obviously.
She swallowed an immortality gem that she stole from the mafia.
Because the mafia always have immortality gems.
You see, she's a cat burglar. Do you see?
Yeah, I got it.
And yeah, she swallowed it to hide it from them, but they caught up with her, chopped her into pieces, and now she's coming apart at the seams. And yeah, so obviously her main sort of feature is her head comes off. So you can willingly throw your head at your opponent, and then you can control it independently of your body using the heavy punch. And so what you've seen, apart from when you're beating me up here,
is a lot of projectile blood.
Yes, she shoots around on spurts of blood, which is how she dashes. So she can air dash by using blood. There goes the head, and the head's got its own throw, which is this sort of nom nom nom, you know, just biting at the ankles and stuff. And yeah, so you can set up a lot of really interesting combos with her, because you can sandwich the character between a body and a head. And you know, a lot of fighting game fans have seen this and they're like, you know, the possibilities are technically endless, because you know, you can come up with some really interesting combos. And what we're seeing here is just scratching the surface. Cat scratching the surface. Because,
you've got a list of those.
Yeah, I like to. Well, a lot of her moves are based on puns anyway. You know, because puns are great.
Obviously, we saw a yarn of wool earlier.
Yeah, so
a yarn of wool.
Her throw, obviously, because she's a cat, like a lot of her moves are cat-based. So her throw is like her playing with a ball of yarn. And but it's not yarn, it's her muscle tissue that's been stretched into a ball around the opponent and then played with. And it's like, oh, that's kind of funny and cute because it's a cat. And it's like, wait, it's not funny and cute.
When you realise
really
what
gross.
it actually is, yeah.
There's blood everywhere, and it's her sinew.
Yeah, that's not a good moment.
So here I'm demonstrating the snapback. So obviously you can knock your opponent out. It uses 1 bar of one special bar, and so she uses her tail like a golf club, but something that's unique to Miss Fortune is if you can get the positioning right, you can actually use her head as a projectile snapback. So she actually shouts 4 and you know, hits her head to knock out your opponent.
Do you know if that does more damage than a normal one, or is that just there for comical?
Doesn't do damage, I don't think. I think it just knocks them out to force in your next character. So obviously,
and just looks badass.
Yeah, yeah, it's brilliant. And you can. There's also the potential to use her head as like a projectile from the ground, in which you can kick it. So you can kick it like a football, and it will hit your opponent. But you can also make it sneeze, and it will jump up of its own accord. So you can do sort of anti-air combos with the head.
Oh god, yeah.
So yeah, you know, there's so much sort of depth to using the head independently of the body that there's so much sort of scope that people are going to be sort of learning combos, you know, new combos for sort of ages to come. Here we're seeing, you can, depending on if you've got your head on or not, you can do, it will vary your super moves. So that one just then, because she had her head on, she ended up with a headbutt. But if you take your head off and do the same move, it ends with this rather painful looking sort of drill hand. And you can follow it up with a you know, with the head on the floor. So you can always follow stuff up after they've hit the ground using the head. So
some of these sentences have never been said in
I know, yes.
language, I don't think.
I love how, you know, you get so used to saying, well, yeah,
just hit it with your head. And,
it's one of those games where after playing it for a while, you take it all for granted, and then you realise that, you know, to an onlooker, it's absolutely bonkers. It's bizarre, but it's also it's a lot of fun. Here we are teleporting the opponent to our head using dismembered limbs. To carry on with the phrases that you normally wouldn't hear. And that's really useful because obviously that opens up a load of strategy. You can throw your head in the corner, fight the opponent to the other edge of the screen, but then teleport them back into the corner, and then carry on to sort of corner trap them and you know, beat them up with a combo.
Cool. Well, we've obviously shown you quite a lot there. Now to actually have a few fights and hopefully win.
Yeah, yes. We could be into the school of hard knocks.
Good luck with that one.
Yeah, head boy right here.